Namaste. Hello everyone. Welcome to Shal Gulhati, Shiva and Mysticism for another episode of Monday with Mahadev. Shiva, the Destroyer. Shiva is often called the Destroyer. And today I want to talk to you about that. Why is Shiva called the Destroyer? Why would Shiva be the Destroyer? Shiva, the one who loves the mountains, and his ganas, the animals, the greenlands, the one who is very fond of his wife and children, the one who loves everyone, who's a mighty chieftain, the one who many say is the creator of the world. Why would he become the destroyer? And most importantly, Shiva, the one to whom we pray and worship in the form of the Shiv Linga, which is very obviously the symbol of creation. Why would that Shiva be the destroyer? Now, Hinduism believes in three gods. Brahmaji, who is the father of all gods, who's attributed creation. Vishnuji, who is attributed maintenance of this universe which is so created. And at the end of it, Shiva, the destroyer. If we reduce this in modern terms to an analogy of a firm where Brahmaji provides the sort of capital and becomes the chairman, and Vishnuji looks after the day-to-day running and therefore is the director in charge, the man on the spot, the commander on the spot. And then if this firm goes a little bad and needs to be closed up, we have Shiva, the destroyer, who has to wind it up, or who has to do chapter 11 or whatever it's called. It seems a little unfair that Shiva's only role in the firm would be to close it down. Now, Shaivites have a slightly different view. They do not think of Shiva as the destroyer, but they think of Shiva as the creator. They think of Shiva as the sustainer as well. Maybe through agencies, maybe through all the devatas like Indra and Vayu and Agni and of course Lord Vishnu. But basically they say that he's the one who creates the universe and nurtures it. So what about destruction? So the Shaivites think of Shiva not as a destroyer but as a reabsorber, or as a person who dissolves that matter which he had created back into the energy which is himself. But this is somewhat like he's more of a rectifier, and he doesn't have to destroy everything. If we have the parable of those refrigerators in which we have defrost buttons, so if a portion of the fridge is very heavily loaded with ice and we need to thaw that, we can press a defrost button and that portion gets thawed, leaving the other portions intact. So Shiva doesn't have to destroy everything. He can destroy the destructive processes which he observes in this universe. He can put a stop to them, an estoppel to them. And that is how, by being a destroyer, he gives way to creation and further creation. But there is another interesting aspect of this. So people ask, how does Shiva destroy the world? Some say he does a tandav, which is a very vigorous dance, and he taps Prithvi Loka, the earth, with his vigorous dance, and the whole universe starts dancing with him, and with that thumping, things can get destroyed. Others say, well, he has a third eye, and when he gazes with the third eye, whatever he looks at can burn up into flames. And we have pictorial representations of this. For example, when Shiva did that to Kama, the god of love, he did that. That's another story. We will do it sometime. Why would he burn up the god of love? Well, because Kama did some kind of impropriety. So we have pictorial representations that Shiva gave him that gaze with his third eye, a furious gaze, and Kama went up in flames. Of course, Shiva resurrected him in another yuga and gave him another life. But this aspect, if we go into it deeply, if we go into it spiritually, esoterically, to the deeper meaning, it would mean that one who is self realized, who has opened the Gyan Chakshu, the eye of wisdom, the all knowing eye, the eye which can have spiritual discrimination. In spirituality, discrimination is not what it means in lay terms, to discriminate against somebody. It means simply to be able to see what is the truth and what is not so true. So a person who has a third eye which is open, or a person who is enlightened or who is self-realized, if he will read any text, he will decode it the right way. You see, we can have a text, we can have a comic or a book or even a sacred text or a shastra of great philosophy, and you and I can read it differently, interpret it differently. But Shiva is the person who, when he looks at any spiritual text, his spiritual discrimination is so great that he decodes it correctly. So this third eye is like a key which opens the right locks, and what it destroys is the delusion, is the false interpretation or the false knowing. So it can very well mean that Shiva destroys all the things which are actually harmful to everyone's spirituality. So Shiva is not a destroyer in the sense that he will end this world. He is a destroyer in the sense that he puts finally an estoppel to that which is wrong for the universe. And that's why we don't think of him, the Shaivites do not think of him as a destroyer, but as the creator who paves ways for more creation. Like even when there's a lot of snowfall, we get a bulldozer to pave the way for us to move forwards. So Shiva destroys that part which is creating obstacles for all of universe, all of the creation, and all of us. So that is my little take on Shiva, the destroyer. I hope you liked this story. Please meet me again on the same channel next Monday. We will be very close to Shivratri. So maybe I will do something which tells you about Shivratri, why it is celebrated or how it is celebrated, or how it could be celebrated. Om Namah Shivaya.